So I had a thought today about Iran and North Korea and some of the nuclear capabilities that they have and the missile tests that they've been doing. And Iran hasn't done an awful lot of missile tests or nuclear tests, but I think that they're capable of it. I think that they have those weapons. I think that they're giving North Korea their information about um, missiles and all of their technology that way. And I think North Korea is giving them all their technology for nuclear weapons. North Korea has taken a lot of heat for it, but I think it's ignorant and pretty naive to believe that North Korea, as much as they're up to, wouldn't send that over to Iran. Iran had a nuclear program already that we know about, but nobody's really going over there and really looking under every rock and really, doing anything like that. And so who knows what Iran is capable of. I think Iran basically is taking the template that works for North Korea and is just mass producing them on the ground. I don't think that they're spending any time testing anything or spending any time setting off any nuclear weapons, because why would you? If you already have the template of what works, you don't need to you don't need to you don't need to test it. Cars are mass produced, guns are mass produced. A nuclear weapon isn't going to be that much more difficult to mass produce if you know all the components and how to put them together. And North Korea's already figured that part out. I think I think Iran's focus is more on Israel, and North Korea's is mostly on the U.S. But I don't think that Iran really cares for the U.S. all that much. And China and Russia certainly aren't going to get in the way. I mean, they have to look like they're very disturbed by all this, but in the end, if Iran and North Korea nuked the U.S., Russia and China wouldn't even send medical attention to us at all. They wouldn't care. So I think that's the first part of it. But the second part of it, North Korea's missile went 37 minutes and went about 65 miles. But they think that possibly that missile could go as far as Alaska. And I think that that's kind of ignorant to say that North Korea is going to, get all their military troops and all their missile launchers, and they're going to stick them on top of a mountain with their leader, and then they're going to start lobbing nuclear-tipped warheads over to the U.S. and wait to see what happens. I think that that's very ignorant. I think if they're capable of doing mobile ICBMs, and they have launched missiles from a mobile ICBM launcher, I think what I would do personally is I would slightly modify a coal ship that transports coal to China, and I would put 2 or 3 or 4 of them on a coal ship and basically have them float around the Pacific, and they could hold all those countries at hostage. Taiwan, the Philippines, Japan, and even Hawaii. If the United States military allowed them to get that close, and if a ship is in international waters, it doesn't matter what kind of a ship it is. A military ship, it doesn't matter. I mean, you attack a ship, you're starting a war, basically. So they would have to allow those ships to go wherever they wanted, to a point, before they could act. At some point, the United States is going to say, this is a provocation we can't take anymore. We're going to, sink that ship, or we're going to board it and take the people prisoner or whatever. But, how many ships are we willing to do that to? Are we going to start searching every single ocean-bearing vessel? Because then we're not the policemen of the world. Then we're the brutal dictators of the world, and we would be calling out for repercussions on that. So all North Korea would have to do is just to get their missiles close enough, or their ships close enough to the U.S. where they could launch some of these missiles. And if our defenses aren't fast enough to pick up that launch, track a solution, and shoot that missile down, then we are still looking at having a much greater threat than what we think we're facing now, because they don't have to shoot a missile from North Korea. If they can put it on a coal ship, they can shoot that missile from any place. They can park that boat. And I don't know if the ship has to be totally flat and stable to launch it, or what. I don't know, but I think that's something that we need to be concerned with, because it's not just a coal ship. If they're able to get that on any kind of a boat, a cruise ship or anything, something that could get in under the radar, so to speak, ISIS would be more than happy to do that for Iran, I'm sure. And there's a lot of piracy going on at Somalia. They could pirate a ship and load it up with a weapon. So I think that's something that we need to be very, very cautious of.